Good evening, everybody. This is Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. It is Saturday, January 4th, 2025, and we have a major winter storm that's wrapping up now, coming out of Colorado. It is going to impact many states and many people over the course of the next 48 hours. So I'm going to detail that as much as I can here in this shortened update. I promise, shorter than the last one. Take a look at the GOES satellite image. You can see what's going on. Matter of fact, the snow that happened last night that came through Pennsylvania, parts of West Virginia and Maryland, look at that. It's already blossomed into a major cyclone east of Nova Scotia. So conditions are right for lots of activity in the atmosphere. Our attention is turning now into Wyoming and Colorado as this low pressure system starts to develop. Precipitation already falling in parts of Missouri. Blizzard warnings have been issued in Kansas and parts of Missouri as well. I'm going to detail that too coming up here in just a second. So what I'd like to do is show you the model forecast here over the next couple of days and show you what we have in store. And then I'm going to dive into some specific areas using GeoCollaborate and specific updates along the path of this expected storm. Here is that storm that's developing now, and you can see it. It's a trough of low pressure here coming out of Wyoming and Colorado. The center of low pressure system down here right near the Oklahoma panhandle. And I'm going to take this into motion. You can already see the precipitation shield expanding, and it's going to expand pretty rapidly. We have very strong, cold, high pressure pushing cold air down ahead of this system, and there's also low pressure that's pulling up Gulf moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, and that's going to create an area of icing. And there is an ice storm warning in effect, and I'm going to show you where here in the next couple of minutes. But as far as the model is concerned, take a look at where this major storm tracks. It tracks from the panhandle of Oklahoma, east across Oklahoma, into Arkansas. This is a band of very heavy snow. Blizzard warnings, in effect, have been issued by the National Weather Service for eastern Kansas and also stretching into parts of Missouri. And this band of snow will stretch all the way into southern West Virginia by tomorrow afternoon. We don't expect the snow to reach Baltimore, Washington area until very late, between 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock in the morning on Monday. But here it is. And this area of icing could cause widespread power outages with the accumulation of ice that is expected with this particular storm. Again, on Sunday afternoon, a line of showers and thunderstorms will be coming together and moving through this area in eastern Texas and Louisiana and parts of Arkansas as well. It really comes together during the nighttime Sunday. These could be nighttime severe weather developments, and we're going to have to watch these very, very closely because there could be some tornadoes in this severe activity. As we continue on, look at this. Monday morning, early Monday morning, snow falling in the mid-Atlantic area will likely start around midnight Sunday night into Monday around Baltimore and Washington, and then start to fall rather intensely. But this area of icing is extending to the east as well. Those of you living in the Shenandoah Valley, you'll have to deal with an onset of snow and then perhaps freezing rain and then some snow again as colder air moves in. So let's take this a little bit further. This is the latest model run too, the 18Z model run for the GFS, the Global Forecast System. And you can see that freezing rain is getting very close and sleet getting very close to the Washington, D.C. area. This is heavy snow, however, that's falling on Monday morning about 7 a.m. And then this low continues across North Carolina and into the ocean a little bit after this. But take a look at this snow band. This is moderate to heavy snow throughout the day on Monday in the mid-Atlantic areas. And then this system will go off of the coast, intensify, But look at this, even some snow showers persisting late Monday night into early Tuesday morning as this races off to the east. Northerly winds behind this will really blow that snow around where it remains all snow. Southern Pennsylvania, probably looking at 2 to 6 inches of snow, but it will be blowing around after this system passes through. And in the Baltimore, Washington area, still sticking with about 5 to 8 inches of snow. Some areas could locally see 10 inches or so. But this high pressure is going to drive cold air down to the Gulf states. And we're not done with winter after this. I want to take this a little bit further ahead after high pressure takes over a little bit in the mid-Atlantic or in the middle part of the country and impacts the mid-Atlantic as well. But with that northwesterly wind, this is lake effect snows that are going to be picking up, affecting people in Pittsburgh and western Pennsylvania. This is on Wednesday night, January 8th. But then our eyes are turning towards the Gulf, where we have a low pressure system that's going to be developing. And you can see that moisture picking up rather quickly. This is on Thursday next week, Thursday afternoon. So sunny skies, cold temperatures, snow cover from the mid-Atlantic, all the way back through Missouri and Kansas. So it's going to be very cold in this area. And then the models are hinting here at another low-pressure system developing rather rapidly and bringing quite a storm up the coast with snowfall once again in the mid-Atlantic, Maryland, Delaware areas, snow in Ohio, the Ohio Valley and out towards Indiana and Illinois, and ice down in the Shenandoah Valley. This is in the future now, a week from today, but this storm could be significant. We'll be keeping our eyes on it. This is one that could impact New England with a very heavy snowstorm. Again, and that's a week to even 7 days, 8 days ahead of time. That's out in fantasy land, but I do want to give you just a heads up. These forecasts will likely change from run to run, but the pattern here is conducive to creating more coastal storms as we get on into the next week here. Now, what I'd like to do is go over to GeoCollaborate, and I want to show you that full screen here. Here's GeoCollaborate, and I've got on a product here called the Winter Storm Severity Index. This shows where we're going to have big impacts around the country because of this storm. Look at in Kansas and up into Missouri. Let me bring on that legend as well. The winter weather. Look at this. Major impacts expected from Kansas into Missouri, just north of St. Louis, including Kansas City, and on into Illinois and Indiana. Southeastern Illinois and Indiana are going to be impacted greatly from this storm, likely from ice around Louisville. Look at this. This is extreme. This is where travel is not recommended. This is during the day on Sunday into Monday, where ice is likely to form from freezing rain. So freezing rain falling on trees, power lines, causing quite a bit of damage, perhaps widespread power outages. And then as we move to the east, remember I mentioned yesterday, this area of moderate impact, which means very hazardous driving conditions will exist across the state of Maryland, Delaware, southern New Jersey, parts of southern Pennsylvania, right on the border there, and even pockets of major impacts where you should avoid travel. If you live in anywhere in these red areas, please do not plan to travel. If you do travel, please have those kits in your car that I outlined yesterday. Remember, I showed those. I'm going to show you here. We're going to just take a little deeper dive into some of these areas here. I'm going to change the layer that I have displayed from winter storm impacts to snow or ice accumulation. I just want to focus on this for a moment. This is ice accumulation where freezing rain and sleet are likely to mix in with and perhaps stay during the duration of this storm because cold air is in place from high pressure to the north and warm, moist air is being pumped up above that cold air from the Gulf of Mexico, and that is a recipe for freezing rain. If you live in Kansas, eastern Kansas, Wichita, expect some freezing rain potential. Even 1/100th of an inch of freezing rain could cause terrible driving conditions and really hazardous conditions throughout that time that the freezing rain is falling. And then into Missouri, these areas, major impacts expected. And this, if I could dive in here, this is south of St. Louis, Cape Girardeau right here, and anywhere to the west of Cape Girardeau is expected to have some heavy icing, and also into Kentucky. This is just a little red area, but I suspect it's going to be bigger around Louisville, Kentucky, over to Evansville, Indiana. We could have a big strip, and even over to Lexington, Kentucky, a big strip of very impactful ice. Ice storm warnings are in effect in many of these areas. And then this danger, the moderate driving conditions for ice extend eastward into West Virginia and then dive south a little bit, so around Staunton, where you might have about 1/10 of an inch of ice, but you'll also get several inches of snow. And then Roanoke and Blacksburg, you may see some significant impacts with accumulating freezing rain on trees and power lines. It looks like this area in the Baltimore, Washington area will maintain the snow for most or the duration of this event. There are chances that some sleet could mix in at times. That would bring down the overall snow accumulation, but still looking for 5 to 8 inches of snow in this area, which is a major event. Haven't seen this amount of snow in this region since 2022. Now, what I'd like to do is I'm going to back out here a little bit and show you a couple of slides as well that I've put together as far as impacts in Kansas and elsewhere. Okay, now what I'm going to go over is this strip of impacts here from this winter storm and just dive into Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia, and the Mid-Atlantic, just to show you what we expect over the next 24 to 48 hours. There are blizzard warnings in effect now, and these blizzard warnings mean winds of 35 to 45 miles per hour. The winds will impact I-70, and accumulations along I-35 will be very significant. And so this is what we're talking about here. These pink areas are winter storm warnings. Okay, so now from Kansas into Missouri as well, this is Cape Girardeau right here. The major winter storm has already started with snow falling throughout this area. And look, here's Kansas City right here, and there are blizzard warnings for the suburbs of Kansas City for tomorrow. Now, they'll see sleet and freezing rain, ice accumulations from a glaze up to 1/2 inch. Remember, we talked about this yesterday. Only a small amount of ice could add 500 pounds of weight onto trees and power lines. And then a blizzard warning is in effect starting at 3 a.m. Sunday through 3 a.m. Monday in this area. That could be expanded to the south here to include metropolitan Kansas City. So a foot of snow or more is possible, mainly areas north of I-70 along Highway 36. Bitterly cold temperatures will also follow this storm as it pulls away because of that strong high pressure system to the north. Here we are in Missouri and Illinois. And Illinois right now looks like you're going to get the brunt of the snow as well. But in the southern portions, we're talking about freezing rain. And this is going to be very impactful. Significant winter storm is going to be felt here. And it looks like starting late this evening through early Monday morning, travel may be near impossible at times, especially during the day on Sunday. So if you have any plans, make sure they're buttoned down this evening and early tomorrow because it's going to be coming in fast and furious during the day tomorrow. So into Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, and Indiana, this is where we have the ice storm warning. The ice storm warning means that mostly ice buildup on trees, power lines, and roadways are going to happen in this area. So major travel impacts are expected in this area. Minor to moderate travel impacts are expected in the winter weather advisory area. That's down here, Hopkinsville, Murray, New Madrid, Poplar Bluff. That's not so much of a concern, but right here in Marion, Cape Girardeau, and over to Owensboro, we're talking about a major ice storm which could last for about 12 to 18 hours or more and cause quite a bit of impact on trees, power lines, and bringing down power in this area. So we'll be monitoring this very closely. So let's break this down here around Louisville and how much ice we expect to accumulate on the trees and the power lines. So to the north around Jasper, Salem, even perhaps Madison, we're talking about 1/4 to a 1/2 inch of ice. That's enough to cause power outages. A 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of ice is likely between Louisville, Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky, that includes Frankfort, Richmond, and Elizabethtown, and even Danville. You'll be right there on the edge. So expect long-term power outages, perhaps for days in this area. So if you're planning on using any generators, if you lose power, do not run those generators inside of your house or inside of your garage or even under your carport. Carbon monoxide can get into and carbon dioxide can get into your house, and that would be very unhealthy for anybody who experiences that. 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch of ice in a narrow band to the south here, and then 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch in Columbia, Bowling Green, and Hartford. So that's what it looks like in Kentucky. This is a major situation that is developing. Pay attention to your local broadcast meteorologist, your local National Weather Service office, because these conditions could change very rapidly. The freezing rain could move further to the north if enough warm air moves in up above that cold air, or it could be mostly snow. So pay close attention to what the National Weather Service is saying here. 1/4 of an inch of ice can add 500 pounds of weight to trees and power lines. And that is what we're going to focus on during this storm. You can see the crawl at the bottom of the screen and the crawl at the top of the screen. Some states are planning to activate their emergency operations centers coming up in the next few hours, and they're going to be monitoring response efforts and preparations as this storm comes together and impacts more than 60 million people across the United States. We'll be back tomorrow with another update. I'm Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. It's been an update for the All Hazards Consortium, sensitive information sharing environment. Please watch out for yourself, take care of yourself, and also watch out for your neighbors. They do appreciate it, and in this storm, it could save their life.